See, Tom DeLonge is not the only one who can rock a beanie outside of winter. Blink is back! Welcome back to the Rock Metal Fan Nation album song rank and review series. I am so excited to be covering blink-182's brand new album, One More Time. It came out on October 20th, and this marks the return of Tom DeLonge to Blink-182. The last album he recorded with the band was 10 years ago. He left Blink 8 years ago, and this is a huge release. Even if you're a metalhead or a rocker and not into pop punk, you can't deny that when Blink-182 drops an album, it is very culturally significant, especially to us. Just hearing the name Blink-182 brings those nostalgia vibes back. At first, you might think to yourself, great, another legacy band that's coming back and promoting an album with a tour, or promoting a tour with an album because they're out of money or because pop punk is resurging. And let's face it, pop punk is on a resurgence. Even Machine Gun Kelly made a pop punk album. That's how you know. But that isn't really the case with Blink-182. Yes, I think the timing for the band getting back together did work to their advantage. However, Blink's story is a little different than that. 2 years ago, founding member and bass player Mark Hoppus was diagnosed with cancer, and that was when Tom and he really started to connect. Tom was there for him in a very significant way. This sparked a few secret meetings with all three original members, and after a few rumors circulating, it was true. The band reconciled and got back together. There were so many disagreements in the past. They released 2 albums with the singer of Alkaline Trio, which were pretty good, but nothing beats original Blink-182. And now we are back with 17 tracks. In true pop punk fashion, this is going to be a fast and up-tempo ranking of all 17 songs from least best to best. Let's go. Turn this off. Okay, so there are going to be interludes in this album. In a 17-song album, I guess this makes sense. And what Blink-182 does is they have these very fast, punk-inspired interludes that are really cool because they do not sound polished. They're all over the place, but it's 23 seconds. Come on. I would have loved for Turn This Off to be a full song, but instead, it's a 23-second jam. Not a fully formed song. They'll probably tack this on to the end of a song if they ever perform it live, but you're not missing anything. Next. Coming in at 16 is this brilliantly named track, and once again, interlude song, 27 seconds. Tom is screaming, "You talk too much." And that's about it. It's fast. It's like punk thrashy. Next. So at 15, Hurt even has interlude in its title. They want you to know this song is specifically an interlude, and I actually really enjoy this one. You all know how much I don't like interludes, but this one's pretty cool. It features some nice layered vocals from both Mark and Tom. It feels very progressive. It's a cool break. The drums are slow and kind of epic. It clocks in at about 1 minute and 21 seconds, and for an interlude, I really like this one, and it is not an immediate skip for me. Ranked number 14th, and also the 14th song in the album, is Turpentine, and I applaud the band for a slightly more progressive approach to this song. It's not traditional. There's enough tempo changes to keep you interested. For me, a lot of pop punk songs start blending together and sounding the same. There's enough differences. However, the biggest thing that stands out in this song is actually its biggest flaw. The chorus is kind of annoying. That line of "what if I'm not like the others" is catchy, but kind of annoying. It's a weird vocal delivery. It kind of reminds me of the intro of Solway Firth by Slipknot, where Corey sings Killers, kind of like that, except when Corey did it, it sounded cool. When Blink did it, it just comes off a bit annoying. It distracts from the chorus, and for those reasons, I am not crazy about it. Bad News is ranked next, and this is a pretty fun song. It starts with acoustic guitars and Mark singing lead vocals, and it's interesting. His delivery has always been very monotone, and he's saying that he has bad news. He's breaking up with you. After everything you've been through together, he is out. And it's interesting how matter-of-fact he sings it, because it's such a heavy statement, but it's like, bad news. That's his delivery. The true standout of this song is the drumming of Travis Barker. He is all over the map, pushes the pace. So we start acoustic and it starts building up into these great punk riffs. And there's a lot of speed to it. In just the 2 minutes and 19 seconds, it packs a great punch. It is catchy. It would be more relatable, I think, if you're in high school. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I liked it. I didn't love it. You're going to hear me say nostalgia a lot when I'm going through these songs, but what I'll applaud about Bad News is that it is actually very youthful sounding, not nostalgic where it reminds you of your youth, but there is a youthful energy to the song, and that's when Blink is at their best. Falling pretty low on this ranking is actually a single, Fell in Love. This is a bit of a cheesy one. It's about being at a high school party, or remembering a high school party and remembering falling in love. It screams pop, not pop punk, not punk, it's pop. The hooks are there. It's just incredibly generic to me. Now, there's no doubt it's still a good song. It beats a lot of the things on the radio, but this to me seems like Blink is really pushing for a single. However, if this song came up in a playlist or if I heard it at a party, I wouldn't really be that mad about it. 2023, Who the Bleep Are We? Childhood ranks number 11 here. It is the last song on the album, and I applaud the band for stepping outside of their comfort zone. It's a mid-tempo kind of progressive ballad, features a lot of vocals from Mark, but also from Tom. It's a look back at the past without copying the past, so I feel like this song sounds more like where these guys are at in their life. They're in their late 40s, early 50s, looking back at those good times and trying to figure out where are we now? Who are we now? With everything that's gone on in the last few years, and even on a personal level with Mark's health. And one more time, Blink is looking back at their career a lot, and this one kind of sums it up. It's the perfect song to close the album, and I admire how different it is than a lot of the songs on this release. Turn your lighter on or your cell phone light, wave it in the sky. Childhood is a really cool anthem for us rockers, metalheads, or punk rockers. We're now in the top 10, starting with Blink Wavin'. I love this song. To me, it is blink-182 being a little progressive, flexing their songwriting and musical ability, and delivering something very unexpected. It starts with these cool synths playing, Travis Barker with a very progressive, out-of-the-box drum beat, and Mark Hoppus's vocals. The chorus is insanely catchy. That's when Tom comes in. It's a very simple hook. Very easy. Gets stuck in your head. Talking about not being able to keep your eyes off of someone. To me, it's more relatable. Yeah, you can think of it as like puppy love or like high school love, but it's not quite fratty or high school party vibes. It's fun. It's a bit more mature. Still has that pop punk spirit. I think this is the little hidden gem on the album. Other Side is the perfect encore song for a Blink-182 set. It acknowledges their past while also feels very present and in the moment. Tom DeLonge takes over vocal duties in this very crisp 2 minutes and 10 seconds and feels like present day Blink-182. They're not trying to capture something from the past. It doesn't compromise their roots. The lyrics are really special in this one. This band has performed live so much and have been on the road for so long that it's great to hear them singing about their experiences and sharing it with the audience. I think that's pretty cool. Rank number 8 is You Don't Know What You've Got. It is not abbreviated on the album, but I abbreviated it because there's not enough room here. So that gets the abbreviation. You Don't Know What You've Got. This song is awesome. It is the 6th single from the album, and it's a very mature sound, yet it's also very familiar. It starts off with this crazy drum beat from Travis, and I don't even know what time signature it's in, but it is all over the place, but still really, really tight. It's no doubt the driving force of this track. Then you have these clean guitar arpeggios that are vintage Blink-182, but very, very somber sounding. On top of that, Mark's vocals come in and are even more somber to this vibe. In my opinion, Mark is writing from the perspective of his health and, maybe taking life for granted and then trying to seize the day afterwards and live life to the fullest. The chorus here packs such a strong punch. It is bombastic. Tom and Mark sing together beautifully, and this is definitely going to go down as one of my favorites. It's a bit out of the box for a Blink-182 single, but that is a very, very, very good thing. With metal albums, I'm often talking about the bridge section of songs and not really much in a pop punk song because usually it's extremely short or it doesn't exist. And You Don't Know What You've Got, there is an awesome, awesome bridge section. Tom's guitar playing, which I haven't mentioned a lot, sounds great and add to this epic feeling of the song. Edging is the first single that was released from One More Time, and that was released over a year ago, and we didn't even know anything about this album, and it is a fun one. It's blink-182 in their not so serious, relaxed, upbeat vibe, and for those reasons, it is very enjoyable. Nothing really to take seriously from this one, and I think it's a very misleading track. I think a lot of the songs in this album feel more current and have more musicianship in them, but Edging is fun. It is a very loose pop punk song, very simple beat that's driven by some bass drums, and that's really it. When I heard this as a first single, I'm like, oh, it's Blink doing Blink things. I'm not that interested. Luckily, the rest of the album has a lot more to offer, but regardless, put this on at a party and people are going to enjoy it. If you don't know what edging is, you should probably look that up on Urban Dictionary. Ranked at number 6 might be my hottest take so far. I have Terrified. This is going to be a song that is overlooked by pop punkers, I guarantee you, because it has some hard rock influence to it. The main riff is crunchy. It's not just a traditional speedy pop punk riff. This one is a bit more mid-tempo. It's crunchier. It's got a nice bounce to it, and it even sounds ominous, which I personally love. Now, the verses quiet down, a nice snare drum that's building some anticipation, and then there's a classic Blink-182 huge chorus with fast strumming guitars, Tom yelling, and the energy is really strong. Terrified might have the energy and spirit of old Blink-182, but this is one of the more mature and more relatable songs to their older fan base. My fellow metalheads, if you do not like pop punk at all, yet you still want a little peek at what Blink-182 has done with this album, Terrified is the song for you. Welcome to the top 5, and we're starting with When We Were Young. The title of this song gives it away. It sounds exactly like what you would think. It's classic Blink-182. Looking back at the past, it is nostalgic. The energy in this one is different. It isn't really a youthful energy. It's more of an urgent energy, which is pretty cool. Now, is it a coincidence that When We Were Young Fest has been around for a couple years and now Blink-182 has a song called When We Were Young? I don't know. It's a little on the nose. It might be on purpose, but regardless, it's a fun song. If you're not in the mood for nostalgia, this one is not for you. But I won't deny that, as predictable as it might seem, it is very entertaining. It's a fresh take, and like I mentioned before, the energy is more mature and it's more urgent than it is youthful, which is pretty cool. The 4th single of the album is ranked 4th overall, and that is Dance With Me. I love this song. This is what I think should have been the first single. I think it's much better than Edging. It still has some awesome party pop punk vibes, but it leans much more into the punk than it does the pop, unlike Edging. What stands out to me are the guitars. The guitars are really fun. They aren't just traditional strumming fast. It's a fun guitar riff with some higher notes. I love when Tom plays like this. And the song is about dancing. It's literally just about dancing and having a good time dancing with a partner. It's really hard not to smile while listening to it. The chorus literally goes, ole, 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 ole. Like, obviously not the most original melody, but it works, and I haven't really heard a song with that type of chorus. It's fun, it's a blast, by far one of my favorites of the album. At number 3, I have More Than You Know, and this song really surprised me. This goes back to Blink-182's old school sound. There's a little bit of post-hardcore influence with their traditional pop-punk sound. It is heavy, it's dramatic, it's emotional. It is by far the most progressive song on this album. More Than You Know and Terrified are 2 songs so far that I think metalheads would really appreciate because of their overall heaviness, but also because they lean a lot less into the pop of pop-punk and more into the punk and post-hardcore. There have been a few lyrics up to this point that have been really good, but by far one of the best so far is in this chorus where Tom sings, "I don't feel pain, but I feel more than you'd ever know." What an awesome line, and the delivery is simply outstanding. Honorable mention to those pre-choruses where you have Tom yelling, almost screaming, instant treat for a metalhead. This song alone gives me hope for Blink-182. It proves that they have something to offer right now, but I still think there's plenty of gas left in the tank. Can You Say Glorious? Anthem Part 3 is number 2 on this ranking. That 1-minute intro has to be one of the best things that Blink-182 fans have ever heard. It is so awesome to hear the band back. They decide to bring you right back to the early 2000s with this intro. You really can't mimic Tom's guitar style and you instantly know that it's him. It feels like the curtains have come down after so many years. The real blink-182 is back, and what an epic statement to start the album. I am so surprised that this isn't a single. I think it would be a perfect song to release as one. Energy is high and the lyrics are super, super positive. It's a great feel-good song. This feels like a tribute to their fans. Not only is Blink-182 back, but they're providing you positive vibes about chasing after your dreams, starting a new life, and that's the type of fan service that you want to hear. I've mentioned before that there are themes of seizing the day and living your life to the fullest, and it's such a great thing to hear. A lot of pop punk songs are anti-establishment or about breakups like some of these, which are all good and well, but hearing a positive song that still is heavier on the punk side than the pop is refreshing. It's the perfect mix of nostalgic and very current. Anthem Part 3 is one of my favorite Blink-182 songs. We did it! Finally, an album title track that is actually ranked #1 overall. It's One More Time. This song, holy moly, is it deep, it's sad, it's tear-jerking, but in a very unifying way. It is a perfect Blink-182 ballad. It's one of the best they've written since I Miss You. It took the internet by storm, and rightfully so. This brings back all those nostalgic pop-punk kind of emo vibes of the early 2000s. Wow. Let's dig into this one. At first, it starts with this beautiful acoustic guitar. Immediately, you're like, this is going to be a heavy one emotionally. Tom starts singing, and he is singing about his fallout from the band and how it's impacted his life from the beginning of Blink-182, from his exit to his return. You know, he couldn't even recognize his friends, transitioning from strangers to brothers. It's incredibly heartfelt, it's honest, it's vulnerable, and it hits you right here. As if that wasn't enough, the second verse, I'm getting chills just saying it. Mark starts singing the second verse, and he addresses his fight with cancer and Travis Barker's near-fatal plane crash in 2008. Wish they told us it shouldn't take a sickness or planes falling out the sky. Do I have to die to hear you miss me? Oh my goodness. Second verse, their iconic ballad, I Miss You, is referenced. All three band members say I miss you at the same time. And apparently it's one of the few songs that all three band members sing on. This is beautiful. I also read that there was supposed to be a build-up to a big guitar riff, but ultimately the band decided to keep it simple, keep the song as a ballad. I think that's fine. I obviously always want to hear more distorted guitars, but in the context of One More Time, it is a perfect ballad. It sums up the album so well. It is a very vulnerable look into the band overall. Blink-182 is a name that is larger than life, yet these three guys have been through so much as individuals and together. What a beautiful, perfect song. If they were going to make an album that had 16 crappy songs and just One More Time, it would still be worth it. It's that good. Grab a tissue, hug someone you love, listen to One More Time. It is beautiful. No doubt a top 3 ballad of 2023. All right, we've done it. 17 songs. Now, what about the overall album? I think this is a very, very good return for the band. Automatically, you know the album is going to sell well. It's Blink. Tom is back. For those reasons, it was one of the most highly anticipated albums of the year. That doesn't necessarily mean the album will be good. I think there is some filler in this album. There are 3 kind of interludes that, look, I'm fine with. It's 17 songs. So if there were 3 interludes and it was a 10 or 12 song album, I'd be pissed. But that is not the case. There's something to offer for everyone on this album, even metalheads, with the tracks like More Than You Know or Terrified, where there's some post-hardcore influences or some hard rock guitar riffs. There are very pop-oriented songs like Edging or Fell in Love. There are very punk rock songs that are basically most of the album. Few progressive moments, which I think are really cool. At times, it feels like the band sounds a little bland. They're trying to capture that old spark. That happens with a legacy band like Blink-182. I'm not holding that against them. However, for the most part, a lot of these songs sound fresh. Lyrics might be nostalgic, but the sound is very current. maybe sometimes too current because they're a bit over polished. The band's songwriting ability is at a total high, and I'm not just saying that because there are 17 songs, but individually, these songs are very, very well crafted. From the shorter songs to the longer, by blink-182 standard songs. Very deliberate, very well thought out, and each band member shines incredibly well. Travis Barker always sounds great. He is in the pocket. He's not doing too much, yet he still is able to shine. Tom's guitar playing and vocals are such a welcomed return. Mark on bass is always great. His very monotone, kind of somber vocals are always a show stealer. And combined, Blink-182 is one of the best, if not the best, pop punk bands around. For all of those reasons combined, I have given this album an 8.0 out of 10. Not more than an 8, not less than an 8. A perfect 8. Yes, this album is great. It's very enjoyable. The reality is, not all of these songs are going to knock your socks off. It might be hard for you to distinguish between some of the tracks without several listens. The top 5 are very interesting. They're much different than the bottom song, so I applaud Blink-182 for having a good amount of variety. There is some filler on here, but it's a solid comeback. To put this in perspective, I rated 72 Seasons by Metallica an 8.0 out of 10. Two legacy bands with two very solid returns. Not a groundbreaking album. It is not their best album, but there are so many bright moments, and in the spirit of pop punk being back, Blink-182 had to be back. Yes, Travis was making albums with Machine Gun Kelly, which were kind of garbage. Blink-182 reclaims their throne as the best pop punk band around by delivering an extremely strong album. I want to see what my fellow rockers and metalheads think of Blink-182's One More Time, so let me know in the comments, how did you feel about this album? Did you even give it a listen? Did I overrate it? Is it underrated? Let me know. You all rock. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. There are so many great new albums that are coming out right now, and I will be getting through each and every one, so stay tuned for more. Be safe, rock on, see y'all soon.